spring game, you were there. How was the crowd? How was the atmosphere? What'd you see before the football started?
Yeah, it's about what you would expect for a spring game, especially right now when there's a baseball game going on across
Yep.
the street. But I'd say probably maybe 15,000 people there. But yeah, I thought it was for me, the defensive line kind of going into it. I thought they would be the strong suit, and they just started out on fire. Back-to-back series, they're getting after the quarterback, and that's kind of what I expected from them. Obviously, for me, I was expecting a lot more from Jaden Daniels, especially, with him throwing the football, a lot of inaccurate throws. Obviously, they brought him here to use his legs. I think that was on full display. He did a phenomenal job.
He's fast.
Yeah, he can run. He can run it. But I think for me, the biggest takeaway was Garrett Nussmeier, man. I thought he had that touchdown pass to Jack Besh. That was a beautiful throw, getting him outside on the edge. I think that's probably his strongest suit. Getting him on the edge and letting him use that arm talent. You can tell, to me, he had the livest arm out of all those guys. He has the confidence, looks like now. He's finding guys down the field. And I think, to me, I would have Garrett Nussmeier as the lead quarterback going into the fall right now. That's just where I would stand with it. And I also loved what I saw from the running backs, man. I thought Armani Goodwin looks like to have that burst again. Williams looked good. Obviously, you saw a little burst from Emery. And I think they're going to try to run the ball. So I think, there's some good takeaways from the game. I know a lot of people are going to, how many wins are they going to get next year?
Yeah, we got to overreact to the spring game. Got to.
Yeah, but I'm not there yet. But, yeah, it was some good things I took away from it, though.
I'll tell you this. My first takeaway is I was sitting in the Alec Bach press box calling Game 3 of the series. Spring game comes on. I flip it on my laptop. We've got to get rid of the full shoulder stripes. They come out of the tunnel. We got the full shoulder stripes going. Bring them back to the half. Mm-hmm. That was a huge takeaway for me from this spring game. But as we got into the football, one of your points I echo completely. I thought Armani Goodwin looked fast. I thought he had a burst. I thought he was shifty. I thought he looked very, very good. And that's the guy we saw in camp last year. And we kind of raved and said, look, these two freshmen can play a little bit. And I don't know how healthy they were. It was one of those deals where the running back room just couldn't seem to stay healthy. So I thought he looked very, very good. We're going to talk about the quarterback play a little bit later. But for those who aren't going to be around a little bit later, I'll touch on this briefly. Like Brian Kelly said in the postgame, they literally played one coverage the entire game.
Yeah.
So anything you try to take away significantly from the quarterback play, they weren't even playing the same sport. They couldn't get hit, and they knew what the coverage was going to be when they dropped back. That makes things a lot different than when bullets are flying in the real game. But I was, as far as the reps went, it went about like we thought it would go. You saw all four guys out there with both teams, and saw that there's some talented guys in this room. But I was very much impressed with Armani Goodwin first and foremost, and then another guy that made a couple of catches and looked decent. Cole Taylor, he's gonna have to play. I'm sorry, they don't have anyone else, and until they go to the portal in the next 6 days and find someone that I know for sure is going to be better, I think he's going to play a role in this team. And he runs okay for a 6'7" guy. He's got really long arms, and he generally catches it when they throw it his way. I'm not suggesting he's going to be the focal point of the offense. Like you may have seen Eric Gilbert, or Georgia's tight end from last year is escaping me, but he just dominated the sport for an entire year. That's not what I need. I just need a guy to make a couple of catches, make a couple of plays. Anything on the defensive side of the ball that stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, they were super, super vanilla. I think we talked about it going into it. We knew they weren't going to run too much stuff, and they actually did. I think they may have blitzed once the entire day. And so
I kind of thought that. I kind of thought they would take it easy. That's what I figured.
Yeah. I mean, I think so, especially, too, with the numbers. It seems like offense had a lot more players than the defense had, and we kind of knew that watching the bowl game. It's just the defense just seemed a lot more lighter as far as guys go, especially in the secondary. So I expected them to kind of do that. But with that being said, which is why I took what I took from Jaden Daniels is out there. You got one coverage all day long. Like I was expecting to see some more consistency with him with his accuracy, but I just didn't see that. His legs, that pop. That's one thing that popped with him.
He's faster than I thought.
Yeah, but other than that, I thought the defense super vanilla. I like what I saw from the defensive line. I think that was probably the biggest takeaway.
Who was getting after it early when they were getting those TFLs and sacks that you noticed?
Xavier Carter looked good coming off the edge. Obviously, Mason Smith looked really good. Actually, I think Quincy actually. To be a guy that's, that raw, I saw him in the backfield a lot. So I think he's a guy. I don't know if they're going to, it's so stacked in that room.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to get snaps for all those guys. But to me, that's by far the most talented position group on the team.
So as far as Quincy Wiggins goes, when you think about Ali Gay and B.J. Ojulari and Xavier Carter and Savion Jones and all the guys they've got to play that spot on the outside, you wouldn't figure he would crack in early. Now, if they get big lead in the second half on Southern, or I forget who they've got, maybe New Mexico or somebody, after Mississippi State. He can play in the second half of those games, and I think the ceiling for him as a freshman is probably being ready to go if they get to 3rd and 9. And if you think he's so talented that you don't even have to worry about playing the run, put him in there and say go, that may be a deal. But there's just too many balanced guys on that team that are going to play more snaps, I think, than you could expect him to play early in the season.
Yeah, no, I think it's just way too stacked, especially a guy that, he just really learned how to play football. So it's not like he's been doing this since he was 8 or 9 years old. He's really, raw and young as far as that goes. So I think, all these reps are so important from everyone that he gets in the spring game, fall camp, all that stuff is going to be super, super ideal. But as we know with football, injuries do happen. And if he's a guy that, some guys get banged up, some guys have to miss some time, I think he'd be a guy that can step in and try to have some impact as a freshman.
Wide receivers. I saw Brian Thomas make a nice high-point catch. Jack Besh had a couple of scores. Saw Malik with the circus catch in the back of the end zone. Anything step out to you there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the receivers are going to be good, and that's with no Kayshawn out there. I thought what's his name, from ULL, the receiver, 16. I can't even think of his name right now. Oh my God, it's slipping my mind. Oh my goodness.
Everybody's screaming at their radio.
Yeah, but yeah,
there's there a T in it. I've drawn a blank on it too.
The new receiver from ULL. To me, he looked like of all the guys, the one that maybe he belongs in the Sun Belt. But I think all the other guys, man, they look great. Malik looked great. I know he was just getting one-on-one man coverage, but he's gonna eat that alive. Obviously, Jack, to me, he has that confidence that you want to see from a guy going into year 2. He knew what he did as a freshman, but I think now he's, putting those big boy pants on and knowing that he can go out there and have a season to me. So I think those 3 guys, Brian Thomas, Malik, Jack, those guys look really, really good. And Jure had some opportunities to make some plays and came up a little short, but I like the top receivers, and that's even without Kayshawn being out there.
Kyron Lacey's the one that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to tell you. That's who you're thinking of.
Yes, Kyron Lacey, yes.
Live radio is a hell of a thing. You got 3 sports going, you're juggling a lot of names. The transfer portal is on fire every once in a while. One comes up, and you're like, yeah, I can tell you his measurables and where he's from and everything. I just can't remember his name, and that's who you're looking for. And yeah, I thought, I think the wide receiver room is going to be really talented. I was glad to see Brian Thomas make that high-point catch because that's his skill set. I mean, you're going to see him be a little bit better than that at that, then you're going to see Jack Besh be that. And Jack's going to work the middle of the field a little bit better and be a little shiftier than Brian Thomas. It's just the nature of their skill sets. And if you want Brian Thomas to make a push towards the forefront, he's going to have to make those athletic plays because he's the best athlete out there. And you saw that with the big play on Saturday. Jay Ward caught some people's eyes with some of the he was kind of allowed to do a lot of stuff because he was playing high a lot and then crashing when he saw run, made a big hit on John Emery. Kind of your thoughts on Jay as a player after last year and what he brings to secondary this year.
Yeah. Jay will stick his head in there, man. He's not scared of contact. He's not scared to, come in the box and make some plays. That's what I saw him really doing yesterday. Obviously, super vanilla coverages and everything that way, but he wasn't scared to go in the box and, tackle some of those running backs who were running really, really hard over the weekend. So I think for me, you're going to depend on a guy like Jay Ward. He's had a ton of experience. He's made some plays. I think that's a guy that's going to be on the field, whether he's in, playing corner, nickel, hybrid. He's going to be on the field, and I think he'll make plays.
You think Joe paid for dinner while he was here?
Yeah, I'm sure him and Jets got into something, man. I don't know. I hope that owner didn't make Joe pay. He better not be.
That's why I'm asking. That guy's never buying a meal in this town ever again. Yeah, it was good to see the 2019 guys. Joe, Jets, Thad Moss was there. Clyde was there. Who else? And it's funny to look up and be like, hey, a lot of the guys that are still playing in the spring game were on that team. I mean, John Emery was on that team. He's still out there. So yeah. I mean, but obviously they drew a huge crowd when they got there.
Oh yeah, man. Look, no one's eyes was on the field when Joey B and Jets, walked onto the field, man. Everybody kind of turned their attention to the guys. 15-0 magical season in LSU history. You're gonna get some, buzz from the crowd, and I think he got a nice standing O. It's good to see those guys kind of back in town, and it's crazy, like you said. So many of those guys play with people that are still on the team. It's not that far removed as you would think. Some people hating on the Tigers and stuff. No, not what we want the past 2 seasons, but that championship isn't as far removed as people would think. Thanks so much for watching Hunt Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor. Hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. We'll see you next time.